Welcome to Zen in the Art of Movies, and this is part 2 on Elvis. Did Elvis really leave the building? Has Elvis left us? This movie, and I didn't realize Tom Hanks was in it until he was disguised as Colonel Parker, and I didn't even realize that till I was halfway through the movie. But anyway, there's several different angles on this movie that keep perking in me. One of them is that, and as I mentioned before, as I talked on this, I'm 88 and I remember Elvis. I graduated from high school in 55, and I remember when he first hit the culture, you know. And I remember when he was on Ed Sullivan, they wouldn't show his below the waist. He couldn't wiggle. He couldn't wiggle on national TV. They called it the wiggle. Elvis the pelvis. The gyration of the pelvis, you see, was erotic. And it was considered to be black music. Black music was the music of the body. And so Elvis was white black music, and that drove people crazy. And actually, looking at it, he ended up in Las Vegas. They gave him a choice: you either go to jail or join the army. I mean, he was basically manipulated into going in the army, which was 2 years. Because he was like Lenny Bruce. Remember him, the comedian who broke the swear word barrier in comedy? Well, Elvis broke the wiggle barrier. After Elvis, the twist came. Remember the twist? Suddenly you could move your body. This was the great liberation of the 60s from the 50s, was the liberation of the body. And it happened in all kinds of ways. Women were liberated from the corset and hose and hat and gloves. And my wife, when I met her in the late 59, she was still wearing a corset and gloves, you know, when she went out. She was a proper lady. And in the 50s, the corsets came off, and the skirts went up, and the liberation started with the female body, and then so with this idea of Elvis, to me, is he was so dangerous that they put him in a Las Vegas cage, speaking metaphorically. They put him in, this Colonel Parker, first of all, put him in movies, and he wasn't, you know, that was just a platform to him to sing, but it was safe Elvis. And then they put him in a cage of Las Vegas, and that was safe Elvis. They didn't want him to get out into the tours where he had contact with the people. And Elvis always wanted to do an international tour, but Colonel Parker, his manager, kept telling him they'd be security and all kinds of different reasons. And it comes out it was really Colonel Parker who didn't even have a passport, and he was a total con man. But that's another leg of the story. What I want to point to here is the caging of Elvis. And of course, when they put him in a cage, he just drugged up and died at the age of 40. So this whole idea, what I'm working with here, the Zen of Elvis, of this movie, is a reminder of how puritanical and Victorian the 50s was, even though it was modern and you had all these refrigerators and the liberation of the wife and the kitchen, all the advertisements of the liberation of women, because you get this refrigerator, you get this washing machine. You no longer have to wash your clothes in a tub, and you're getting all this vacuum cleaner and the liberation of machine appliances. When it was really big in the 50s because, well, all these factories that produce tanks couldn't produce tanks anymore, so they had to create refrigerators. So you had to have people buy the refrigerators. So you had to have commercials that sold refrigerators as the next best thing, you know. And I even remember in the 80s, Elvis has morphed. You see, when I look at this metaphorically, Elvis never left the building. Elvis was a liberation of the body. A liberation of the body in music. And of course Elvis was really tripped the fear button of racial hierarchy, where white music, country music was safe, but Elvis was dangerous. And this, when I get into Carl Jung, Elvis was the archetype of the bad boy, who will take you out of your humdrum small town misery. A lot of movies are capitalized on this. The bad boy. Women fall for the bad boy because he's adventure. He's exciting. He's risky. He breaks convention. He breaks you out of your corset. He frees you from your wearing hose and a corset, you see, and gloves and a hat, and being very proper, you know. He frees. So the bad boy, for the women's psyche, is the in Jung psychology, is the animus, and Elvis was a animus projector. Just like Marilyn Monroe was a anima projector. So these movie stars became hat racks for the bad boy and the seductress for the male, the female calls him beyond the boundaries and the bad boy calls the woman beyond the boundaries. So there's always this call to get beyond, and we follow the call, you see. And so Elvis was this call to break out of the head trip, the head music, the crooner, and the Bing Crosby and the Frank Sinatra, and the soft music. Elvis was hard, you see. And then, of course, this laid the way for rock music and the breakout of the 60s and the 70s. And the 70s was an Elvis on steroids. 70s was the rock star, was Elvis, freed from the, it was kind of like the rock star was like Elvis in a in a costume, and the rock star was an androgynous, male or female, you didn't know. And so this whole idea of 70s was really given birth to by Elvis. But Elvis got put in a cage. He got put in Las Vegas, which is a cage. And people paid to watch the monkey perform in his costume. And he took drugs and died at the age of 40. But anyway, this is a great movie, so I recommend it. It's on Netflix. And I'll have to stop here. We're running out of time. So subscribe to my talks, my videos, and I keep want to say talks, but on TikTok they're videos. And we'll explore Zen and the art of movies in a wide-angle lens on seeing the bigger picture in movies and exploring the unexplored parts of movies. So subscribe and share. Thanks for dropping in.